Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Podcast with Ali and Aiza. I'm Ali, and I'm so excited you're here with us today. Before we jump into today's episode, let me introduce my amazing co-host. Aiza, how are you doing today?
Hi, Ollie. Hi, everyone. I'm doing great, thank you. I'm Aiza, and if this is your first time listening to our podcast, welcome. We're so happy you found us. Ollie and I started this podcast because we love talking about real-life topics in simple, clear English. We want to help you learn English in a natural way, like you're just sitting with two friends having a conversation over coffee or tea.
Exactly. And speaking of real life, today we're talking about something that I think everyone struggles with at some point. We're talking about habits. You know, those things we do every day, sometimes without even thinking about them. But here's the interesting part. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to build good habits really easily? Like, they decide they're going to start running every morning, and then boom, 3 months later, they're still doing it. Meanwhile, other people, maybe even you or me, we start strong, but then we give up after a few days.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's so relatable. I can't tell you how many times I've said to myself, okay, Isa, starting tomorrow, you're going to wake up early and go to the gym. And then what happens? Day 1, I'm excited. Day 2, I'm still pretty good. But by day 3 or 4, I'm hitting the snooze button and the gym plan just disappears. So I totally understand that feeling. But here's what we're going to explore today. What makes some people different? Why do some people succeed with building habits while others struggle? And most importantly, how can we learn to be better at building habits ourselves?
Perfect. So let's break this down together. And as we talk, we're going to explain any vocabulary or phrases that might be new to you. We'll use examples and little stories to help you visualize what we mean. Sound good? All right, let's dive in.
So, Ollie, let me start with a question. When you think about habits, what comes to your mind first? Like, what's a habit you have right now that you do without even thinking about it?
Oh, that's easy. Brushing my teeth. I brush my teeth every morning right after I wake up. I don't even think about it anymore. It's just automatic. You know what automatic means, right? It means something that happens by itself without you having to think about it or decide to do it. It's like your brain is on autopilot. Autopilot is when something runs by itself, like when a plane flies using its automatic systems without the pilot controlling everything. So yeah, brushing my teeth is completely automatic for me now.
That's a perfect example, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. When a habit becomes automatic, it lives in a special part of your brain. Scientists call this part the basal ganglia. Don't worry about remembering that name, but just know that it's like your brain's storage area for habits. Once a behavior, which means an action or something you do, once a behavior is stored there, you don't need to use much energy to do it. It just happens naturally.
Right. And here's something really interesting. People who are good at building habits, they're not necessarily people with super strong willpower. Willpower is that mental strength you use to force yourself to do something difficult. Like when you really want to eat a piece of cake, but you tell yourself no, that's willpower. But the truth is, successful habit builders don't rely on willpower as much as you might think. Instead, they've learned how to make their habits automatic. They've trained their brain to put those behaviors on autopilot.
Okay, so let me give you a real-life example to make this clearer. Imagine two people. Let's call them Sarah and Tom. Both of them want to start drinking more water every day because it's healthy. Sarah says to herself, I'm going to drink more water. That's her goal. But it's kind of vague, right? Vague means unclear or not specific. So her brain doesn't really know when or how to do this. Tom, on the other hand, he's more specific. He says, every morning, right after I brush my teeth, I'm going to drink 1 full glass of water. I'll keep the glass right next to my toothbrush so I see it.
I see where you're going with this. So Tom is giving his brain very clear instructions. He's saying when it happens, which is after brushing teeth, He's saying what to do, which is drink 1 glass of water, and he's even setting up his environment by putting the glass next to his toothbrush. Environment means the space around you, like your room or your kitchen. And this is super important. When you give your brain clarity, which means clear and specific information, your brain can actually learn the pattern and make it automatic.
Exactly, and that's one of the biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to build new habits. They're too vague. They say things like, I want to exercise more, or I want to eat healthier. But your brain is like, okay, but when? Where? How? What exactly am I supposed to do? Without specific answers, your brain can't create that automatic pathway. It's like trying to follow directions to a friend's house, but the directions just say, go to my house. That's not helpful, right? You need the actual address, the street name, maybe some landmarks.
I love that comparison. So if you're listening right now and you've been struggling to build a habit, ask yourself this question. Am I being specific enough? Let's practice this together. Think of one habit you want to build. Maybe it's reading more, or maybe it's practicing English every day. Now, instead of just saying, I want to read more, try making it specific. Say something like, every night before bed, I will read 5 pages of my book. Or every morning, while I drink my coffee, I will practice English for 10 minutes. Do you see the difference? You're telling your brain exactly when and where this habit will happen.
Yes, and listeners, if you want to try this right now, pause for a second and think about your habit. Make it specific. Say it out loud if you can. Say, I will do this action at this time in this place. That's giving your brain the clarity it needs. Okay, let's continue. Ali, there's another really important factor in building habits, and that's something called environmental design. Do you want to explain what that means?
Sure. So environmental design is basically arranging your space, your environment, in a way that makes the good habit easy and the bad habit hard. Let me paint a picture for you. Let's say you want to cook healthy meals at home instead of ordering fast food all the time. Ordering fast food means calling a restaurant and having them deliver food to your house. It's convenient, which means easy and comfortable, but it's usually not very healthy and it costs more money. So you want to cook at home more. But here's the thing. If your refrigerator is empty and you haven't planned any meals and the fast food menu is sitting right there on your kitchen counter, what do you think is going to happen?
You're probably going to order fast food, right? Because it's easy. It's right there in front of you. But now imagine a different situation. Imagine you went grocery shopping on Sunday. You bought fresh vegetables, chicken or rice, everything you need. You even wrote down a meal plan and stuck it on your refrigerator door. You prepped some ingredients, which means you cut up the vegetables and got things ready ahead of time. Now, when you come home hungry, cooking a meal is actually easier than ordering food because everything is ready to go.
Exactly. That's environmental design. You're not fighting against yourself using willpower. Instead, you're making the good choice the easiest choice. Successful habit builders do this naturally. They put visual cues in their environment. A cue is like a reminder or a signal. For example, if you want to go to the gym in the morning, you might put your gym clothes and shoes right next to your bed the night before. So when you wake up, the first thing you see is your workout clothes. That's a cue. It's nudging you, which means gently pushing you in the right direction.
I love this so much because it takes the pressure off. You're not trying to be perfect or have incredible willpower every single day. You're just being smart about your environment. And honestly, this is something I need to do more of. I always say I want to journal more, write in my journal about my thoughts and feelings, but my journal is usually buried somewhere in a drawer. So what should I do instead?
Well, if I were you, I would put that journal somewhere really obvious. Maybe on your pillow, so when you get into bed at night, you literally can't miss it. Or maybe on your kitchen table, where you have breakfast. The point is to make it visible and easy to access. Remove the barriers. A barrier is something that makes it difficult or blocks you from doing something. If your journal is in a drawer under a pile of papers, that's a barrier. But if it's right there in front of you with the pen attached to it, you've removed the barrier.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so we've talked about being specific with your habits, and we've talked about designing your environment. Now let's talk about something really powerful, and that's something called identity. Identity means how you see yourself, the kind of person you believe you are. And this is fascinating because the way you think about yourself can either help you build habits or make it harder.
Oh, this is such a good topic. So think about it like this. If you say to yourself, I'm just not a morning person, or I've never been good at exercising, you're creating an identity. You're telling yourself a story about who you are. And here's what happens. Your brain wants to be consistent with that identity. So if you believe you're not a morning person, your brain will actually work to prove that true. You'll hit the snooze button. You'll feel tired in the morning because your brain is protecting that identity.
Right, but the amazing thing is that it works the other way too. If you start changing your identity, changing the story you tell yourself, your habits can change too. So instead of saying, I'm trying to exercise more, which sounds like you're forcing yourself to do something difficult, what if you said, I'm someone who takes care of my body? Or even simpler, I'm an active person. Can you feel the difference? The first one is just a wish, something you hope will happen. But the second one is a statement about who you are.
Yes. And research shows that when your behavior matches your identity, your brain actually uses more of the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain that handles planning and self-control and decision-making. Basically, when you believe the habit reflects who you are, not just something you're trying to do, your brain works harder to maintain it. It's like your brain is protecting your identity. Let me give you an example. I used to say, I'm trying to be a healthier eater, but then I changed it to, I'm someone who chooses nutritious food. Nutritious means healthy and full of good nutrients that your body needs. And honestly, it made a difference. When I'm at a restaurant and I'm choosing between a salad and French fries, I think, well, I'm someone who chooses nutritious food. It becomes part of my identity, not just a diet I'm on temporarily.
I love that. And listeners, this might feel a little bit strange at first. You might think, but I'm not that person yet. I'm not a runner. I'm not a writer. I'm not an organized person. And that's okay. You don't have to be perfect. You're choosing a version of yourself to grow into. You're becoming that person through small, consistent actions. Every time you go for a run, even if it's just 10 minutes, you're reinforcing the identity of I'm a runner. Every time you write a paragraph, you're reinforcing, I'm a writer. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And the language you use really matters. Instead of saying, I'm trying to work out more, say, I don't miss workouts. The first statement is uncertain, but the second one is a definition of who you are. It's a subtle difference. Subtle means small but important, but your brain picks up on it. So listeners, here's something you can try right now. Think about a habit you want to build and reframe it through identity. Reframe means to say it in a different way, to change the perspective. Instead of, I want to read more books, try saying, I'm a reader. Instead of, I should practice English every day, try, I'm someone who's committed to improving my English. Committed means you're dedicated, you're serious about it. Even if it feels a little aspirational at first, meaning you're not quite there yet, but you're aiming for it, your brain will start to wire itself around that identity.
This is so powerful. Okay, so let's talk about one more strategy that successful habit builders use, and that's called implementation planning. Implementation planning is basically deciding in advance exactly when and where you'll do your habit. It's not just hoping you'll do it, it's actually scheduling it into your day. For example, let's say you want to meditate. Meditate means to sit quietly and focus on your breathing or your thoughts, usually to reduce stress and feel more calm. So instead of saying, I'll try to meditate more, you would say, after I pour my morning coffee, I will sit on my couch and meditate for 5 minutes.
Yes, and this works because you're creating what's called a habit loop. A loop is like a circle, it repeats. The habit loop has 3 parts. First, there's the cue, which is the trigger that reminds you to do the behavior. In this example, pouring your morning coffee is the cue. Second, there's the routine, which is the actual behavior, so sitting and meditating for 5 minutes. And third, there's the reward, which is the good feeling you get afterward, like feeling calm and centered. When you connect all 3 of these together, your brain starts to recognize the pattern and the habit becomes stronger.
Exactly. And one simple way to do this is with if-then planning. You create a sentence in your mind that says, if this happens, then I will do that. For example, if it's 7 in the evening and I'm home from work, then I will put on my running shoes and go for a walk. Or, if I feel stressed, then I will take 3 deep breaths. The more specific you make this, the better. You're not leaving it up to chance or motivation. You're making a clear plan that your brain can follow.
I really like this approach because it shifts your mindset from reactive to proactive. Reactive means you're just responding to whatever happens, like, oh, I'm stressed, I don't know what to do. But proactive means you're planning ahead, you're prepared. You've already decided what you do in certain situations. And honestly, that takes so much pressure off. Now, let's talk about something that trips up almost everyone at some point, and that's falling off track. Falling off track means you stop doing your habit. Maybe you miss a few days or you mess up. And a lot of people think that once they break their streak, meaning the number of days in a row they did something, once they break it, the habit is ruined and they have to start all over. But that's actually not true.
Oh, this is such an important point because here's the reality. Everyone messes up. Everyone falls off track at some point. The difference between people who succeed and people who give up is not that they never fail. It's that they recover faster. They have what I like to call bounce back ability. That's not a real word, by the way. I just made it up. But it means the ability to bounce back, to get back on track quickly after you make a mistake. Research actually shows that missing 1 day or even 2 days has very little impact on long-term habit formation. Habit formation means building or creating a habit. So you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent most of the time.
Yes, and this is where having a failure recovery protocol can really help. A protocol is like a plan or a set of steps you follow. So a failure recovery protocol means you decide in advance what you'll do when you mess up. For example, let's say your habit is to meditate every morning for 10 minutes. But one morning you sleep late and you don't have time. Instead of thinking, oh well, I ruined it, I'll just give up, you follow your protocol. Maybe your protocol is, if I miss my morning meditation, I'll do a shorter 5-minute version in the afternoon. Or if I skip my workout, I'll go for a 20-minute walk that evening. You have a backup plan.
I love that. It's like giving yourself permission to be human. You're not aiming for perfection, you're aiming for progress. And you're training your brain to see setbacks as part of the process, not the end of the process. A setback is when something goes wrong or you experience a problem. But it doesn't mean you failed completely. It just means you hit a small bump in the road. And listeners, I want you to really hear this because it's so important. One bad day doesn't erase all the good days you had before. If you meditated for 20 days in a row and then you missed 1 day, you still meditated 20 times. That's incredible. Don't let one missed day make you forget all the progress you've made.
Exactly. So let's bring everything together now. People who build better habits, they're not superhuman. They don't have some special power that you don't have. They're just using better strategies. They're creating clarity by being specific about their habits. They're designing their environments to make good habits easy. They're connecting their habits to their identity, to who they believe they are. They're planning ahead using specific cues and if-then statements. And when they stumble, when they mess up, they have a plan to get back on track quickly. These are all things that you can start today.
And I just want to add one more thing before we wrap up. You don't have to change everything overnight. In fact, trying to change too much at once usually backfires. Backfire means it has the opposite effect of what you wanted. So instead of trying to build 10 new habits this week, just focus on one. Pick one small, clear habit that you can realistically do every day. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water when you wake up. Maybe it's reading 1 page of a book before bed. Maybe it's practicing English for 5 minutes while you eat breakfast. Start small, be consistent, and let that habit become automatic before you add another one.
Okay, listeners, we want to do something a little different right now. We're going to practice saying some of these ideas out loud together. So, if you're in a place where you can speak, we'd love for you to say these phrases with us. It'll help you remember them, and it's great practice for your English speaking skills. Are you ready? All right, let's try this one. Repeat after me. I am building better habits.
Great. Now let's try another one. This time, make it personal. Think about one habit you want to build and say this sentence with that habit in mind. Ready? Here we go. I am someone who, and then add your habit. For example, I am someone who exercises, or I am someone who reads every day. Go ahead and say it out loud right now. We'll wait for you.
Perfect. How did that feel? Even if it felt a little awkward or silly, that's okay. You're training your brain to connect with this new identity. And the more you say it, the more your brain will believe it and work to make it true.
All right, everyone. We've covered so much today. Let's do a quick recap. That means let's review the main points quickly. We talked about why some people seem to build habits easily while others struggle. We learned that it's not about having super strong willpower. It's about making habits automatic by being specific, designing your environment, connecting habits to your identity, planning ahead, and bouncing back quickly when you mess up.
And remember, building habits is a skill that anyone can learn. You might not be great at it right now, but that's okay. Every time you try, every time you practice, you're training your brain. You're creating new neural pathways. A neural pathway is like a road in your brain that connects one thought or action to another. The more you use that road, the stronger it becomes. So be patient with yourself. Celebrate small wins. If you did your habit today, that's amazing. If you missed yesterday, but you're doing it today, that's still amazing. You're making progress.
We really hope this episode gave you some practical ideas that you can use right away. And remember, learning English is also a habit. If you're listening to this podcast right now, you're practicing English. You're showing up, you're being consistent, and that's exactly the kind of behavior that builds long-term success. So keep going. We believe in you.
Yes, we really do. And before we say goodbye, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend who's also learning English or anyone who's trying to build better habits. You can find us on all major podcast platforms. And if you have topics you'd like us to talk about in future episodes, send us a message. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, everyone, that's it for today. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Remember, you're capable of building amazing habits. It just takes clarity, consistency, and a little bit of patience. We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone. Keep practicing, keep growing, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.